Well, good evening and welcome to Newswatch tonight on Hope TV, where you look and live. It's Wednesday, the 23rd day of June 2021. I'm Tess Njenga and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. These are the day's stories. The National Treasury has disbursed a total of 43.5 billion Kenya shillings to the county governments to clear dues owed to them up to April this year. Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani says the ministry will clear the remaining dues for May and June 2021 in the coming days, further urging county governors to clear their pending bills. The Council of Governors, which had threatened to shut down county operations by Thursday, 24th June, if Treasury fails to release a total of 58.9 billion Kenya shillings, has since welcomed the move. Dolly Mwirigi tells us more.
It is a sigh of relief for county government after the National Treasury announced the release of 43.5 billion to the devolved units. Last week, the Council of Governors had threatened counties would be forced to shut down operation if the National Treasury failed to disburse 102.6 billion onto them. In a statement on Wednesday, Treasury Cabinet Secretary Ukur Yatani indicated that counties should prioritize payment of pending bills onto their suppliers and the statutory dues. The payment of these pending bills will be closely monitored by the Treasury and future transfers weighed against the fulfillment of these critical obligations to the private sector so as to spur the economic activity at the county levels. Council of Governors on Wednesday, through Chairman Martin Wambora, dropped the threat to shut down counties after the release of funds by the national government.
Earlier today, an additional 39.244 billion was dispersed, bringing the equitable share balance onto the counties to 58.906 billion owed. For this show of goodwill by the National Treasury, I once more wish to thank CS Yatani for this show of goodwill to our request and to the county governments.
The 43.5 billion only clears dues on to the counties for April 2021, with the remaining cash set to be cleared in the coming days to facilitate the worsening public health situation in the counties.
Non-payment of Leader Mama claims to county government. The resource strains on public health facilities is worsened by the fact that the facilities have not received disbursement for free maternity service over under Leader Mama since October 2020.
Following the surging cases of infections in the Lake region, the governors from the region still want the national government to allow them to import COVID-19 vaccines directly days after the government imposed tough restrictions, with the Council of Governors advocating for more vaccines, which is the key stemming the high numbers of infections in the region and preventing further spread of the virus.
We have appointed a representative in KEMSA now, and they have begun working. They would have now to liaise with MOH and also KEMSA, those who want to go that route. But it's not easy. As you heard from the chairman of vaccination committee last night, it is not easy because this thing they are still in short supply, let's face it.
Governors have further appealed to members of the public to take COVID-19 second dose vaccine after the country received at least 358,000 doses from Denmark on Monday. Dolly Mwirigi for Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Dolly. Now, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with UNICEF, has today launched a 10-day measles rubella vaccination campaign where all parents are required to take their children for an immunization against the disease. According to the Health Chief Administrative Secretary, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, statistics indicate that there is a constant increase in the number of people infected with measles and rubella viruses in the country. Velma Moresa now reports.
Parents with children who are aged between 9 to 59 months have been advised to take their children for immunization against measles rubella virus. This is after the Ministry of Health launched a nationwide campaign against the viruses beginning 26 June to 5th July, Health Chief Administrative Secretary Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, during the launch of the campaign, noted that measles is a highly infectious disease and the third most common causes of death in children. Symptoms of the measles virus include high fever, rash, cough, runny nose, red and watery eyes, and white spots inside cheek. And if not treated, it could lead to death, severe diarrhea, pneumonia, ear infections, brain damage, and blindness. Rubella, on the other hand, is a virus that could lead to complications in newborns, such as various birth defects, including heart problems, loss of hearing and eyesight, and brain damage. Dr. Mwangangi said that till date, the viruses remain a threat in Kenya, even as 22 counties in the country are at a high risk of the viruses after an assessment was taken.
Measles is the third most common cause of deaths among children from vaccine-preventable diseases. Deaths are mainly due to complications such as severe diarrhea, pneumonia, ear infections such as otitis media, and sometimes the presence of pus from the ears, brain damage, and blindness. Rubella, like measles, is highly infectious. It's a viral disease, and it can lead to health complications in newborns such as various birth defects, including heart problems, loss of hearing and eyesight, and brain damage. 22 counties were identified as being very high risk for measles outbreaks. This includes Kilifi, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa, Baringo, West Pokot, Turkana, Tana River, Trans Nzoia, Elgeyo Marakwet, Busia, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisii, Kajiado, Nairobi, Bomet, Bungoma, Kakamega, Narok, and Vihiga. The campaign shall start on the 25th of June all the way to the 5th of July, and it targets to reach approximately 3.5 million children of ages 9 to 59 months over this period at an estimated cost of 800 million Kenya shillings. Government also seeks to ensure the safety of the population, and as such, all the requisite COVID-19 guidelines will be observed during the vaccination campaign.
According to the Acting Director General of Health, Dr. Patrick Amot, a population of 2.1 million children in the country is at a greater risk of infection compared to the past years that was at 1.5 million, further clarifying that the vaccine which is to be used during the campaign is safe.
That population at risk is greater than the birth cohort at 2.1 million compared to 1.5 million. And because these are children 9 to 59 months old, we have to speak for them and act on their behalf, because this is the future generation of this country. Again, Dr. Kuria has highlighted the number of cases in terms of the outbreaks that we have reported from 2019 up to this time, which is about 786 cases and 2 mortalities. I want to assure the public that the vaccine that will be used in this campaign is the same vaccine that we use in the routine immunization program. It is safe, and of course it has gone through a very stringent regulatory approval process, and we can only assure you of its total safety.
During the campaign launch, it also emerged that females are at a high risk of catching the virus, and therefore expectant mothers should take precaution.
What a mother can do to protect her unborn child is to make sure that she visits her ANC. Make sure she goes to the ANC clinics at least 4 times. There, her pregnancy is looked at and is monitored. And once the child is born, make sure all vital vaccines are provided to the child. Through the National Immunization Council, we have a very clear guidelines on the routine immunization schedule. Remember, if you went out for routine immunization, as you should, we will not be having this many campaigns. COVID has also not been kind to us. We have found a lot of mothers who have been afraid to bring their children to facilities. But we want to assure you, it is safe, the vaccine is safe, it is the very same vaccine that we are using in routine immunization. So here, the government and its partners have provided an opportunity for us to make sure our children are fully protected.
Velma Moresa, Hope TV Newswatch.
Much appreciated, Velma, for that report. The Elections Observation Group, ELOG, has held the National Dialogue Conference on Electoral Justice in Kenya as it seeks to analyze previous challenges experienced during the election period and further provide reforms to ease the process. Stakeholders, including politicians and political activists, converged in Nairobi for the conference, with some criticizing the recurring urge to change the Electoral Commission, IEBC, and the proposed constitution changes before the 2022 general election. Tiffany Wamboi with the details.
Kenya is one of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa which faces impunity and corruption as a threat in conducting transparent elections. It is for this reason that various legislators and political figures gathered at the National Dialogue Conference to address the challenges surrounding the electoral process in the country. Various political leaders such as NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka during the event pointed out the deficit of trust in the system, a factor which they said contributes to irregularities in electoral matters.
If you go to Article 4 of the 2010 Constitution, it proclaims Kenya a republic, a multi-party democracy. Democracy cannot occur without credible elections. It is therefore sad that the past two elections under the 2010 Constitution, in my rating, have actually been worse than the elections before the 2010 document. So what is the problem? The problem is impunity, utadu culture, because the Constitution for the first time spells out the imperatives of credible elections. The Constitution expects that Article 10, which has the foundational principles, will be followed to the letter. That the IEBC will not lock itself at anniversary towers and plan elections alone. We must participate.
The next conversation, I want to suggest all of us commit, because these commitments that you've been asked to announce will be meaningless unless we look people in the eyes and ask them, do you love this country? Are you a believer in chapter 6 on integrity? Because the process, which is already flawed, has seen a situation where we are antagonizing one Kenyan against another. The next election will be on the 9th of August, 2022. And nobody can do anything about it. That's why I'm demanding that all of us sign these commitments. We will not have anybody representing anybody.
Those who have listened to me in the past will recognize some of the issues that I'm raising.
Maina Wachira, an advocate, highlighted particular issues attributed to potential violence cases that arise during electoral seasons in Kenya, some of which include lack of public confidence in the system, lack of constitutional independence of the electoral body, absence of integrity, and late procurement and delivery of technological equipment.
So corruption isn't something that began with IEBC. Corruption in the Electoral Commission has always been there since the early 1992. In fact, one of the early audit reports that I scrutinized in 1995 indicated that the Electoral Commission that year had been paid something like 35.6 million shillings in undeserved allowances. That's a lot of money for those days. And then we have a long culture of impunity in which nobody has ever been held accountable for electoral violence. Okay. What does the persistence of this problem tell us? It tells us two things. One, that electoral failure is politically embedded. And two, that the problem is institutional and structural. It is not managerial and transitory. Unfortunately, when we reform the electoral system, we replace commissioners and we expand the commission. In other words, we do managerial and transitory reforms.
The two-day conference ends on the 24th of June. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tiffany Wamboi.
Thank you, Tiffany. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party has suffered a blow after its member, Kiambu woman Representative Gathoni Wamuchomba, defected to Deputy President William Ruto's United Democratic Alliance, UDA. Wamuchomba has been one of the president's fiercest defenders in the central Kenya region and one of the most vocal female leaders of the Kieleweke faction of the Jubilee Party. Reports of her defection to UDA followed photos of her meeting with Deputy President Ruto at his current residence on Wednesday, accompanied by Kikuyu MP Kimani Ichung'wah. And a section of lawyers from the African Parliamentarians Network have vowed to relook into the sacking of the Masai Mara University heist whistleblower Spencer Sankale. Sankale, who was the chief finance officer at the institution, was sacked recently by the Masai Mara University Council over alleged gross violation of the university's code of practice. Speaking during the World Whistleblowers Day, the lawmakers led by Endebess MP Robert Kose and his Kisumu East counterpart Shakil Ahmed have now vowed to table a motion in Parliament that will see whistleblowers protected by the police and reviewed.
Hang on to God and hang on to everyone else that's supporting you. You know, put your feet firmly on the ground, stand for your principles and the goodwill that you had in exposing the corruption that you did, right? It was all part of trying to save this nation.
I'll be seeking the permission of the Speaker to make a statement on the floor of the National Assembly to ask the University Council of Mara University to reinstate Sangale back to work, because that is a very unfortunate situation that somebody who is able to raise matters that are happening within an institution ends up being victimized for being able to highlight this situation that was happening at Mara University. When that happens as a society and we condone that kind of mistreatment, then it will be discouraging other whistleblowers from coming out. Therefore, we want to stand with solidarity with
Sangale to ask the university that he be reinstated back.
We are members of parliament. Nitaenda kwa committee ya education. Nitaomba committee chair waite our commission ni Masai Mara Sindi University na chancellor ulize ni shauri gani wali simamisha yeye. So they should kana moyo. Mara hiyo you are not going to go like the others. We are here to support you.
And with that, let's take our first commercial break on Newswatch Tonight. We have much more news coming up, so stay tuned.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at COVID-19 numbers today. 622 people have tested positive for the coronavirus disease from a sample size of 6,236 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 10.0%. Total confirmed positive cases are now 180,498, and cumulative tests so far conducted are 1,920,018. 313 patients have recovered from the coronavirus disease, 206 from the home-based and isolation care program, while 107 are from various health facilities. Total recoveries now stand at 123,363. 30 patients have, however, succumbed to the disease, one of them in the last 24 hours, while 29 are late deaths reported after conducting facility record audits on diverse dates in the months of March, April, May, and June. The cumulative fatalities now stand at 3,514. On admissions, 1,053 patients are currently admitted in various health facilities, while 6,612 patients are under the home-based isolation and care program. 101 patients are in the ICU, 33 of whom are on ventilatory support and 51 on supplemental oxygen, while 17 patients are under observation. Let's go to the counties. In Kitui County, the Assembly has passed the biggest budget since the inception of devolution in 2013 amid concerns of misappropriation of development funds by the executive. Addressing the press on Tuesday evening during a session where the members unanimously gave a nod to the 2021-2022 budget estimates, the Assembly Budget and Appropriation Committee Chair Boniface Kila said that the House had approved a 12.4 billion Kenya shillings budget. Kila said that the House had allocated 4.1 billion shillings for development and the remaining 8.3 billion shillings to cater for recurrent expenditure. The budget chair noted that among the flagship projects in the budget is 850 million Kenya shillings for county community level infrastructure program, Ndegu Revolution with 25 million Kenya shillings, Kitui and Mutomo textile factories being allocated 15 million each.
Mwaka hii inakuja, hii inaanza Julai mosi. Ni a budget ya 12.4 billion. Hizo ndizo budget tuko nayo, ambapo 4.1 billion inaenda kwa development na 8.3 inaenda kwa recurrent. Fenye tumefanya kwa hii budget, kuna miradi mingi sana tumeweka. Hii ndio budget ya kwanza kwa Kitui County ile kubwa since devolution. Since venye tulianza 2003, hiyo ndio ile budget kubwa zaidi tumepata, na pia tuko na matarajio kuwa ile developments tumeweka hapo kama miradi itafanyika itaenda kwa mwananchi huko mashinani. Ile miradi kubwa tumeweka pesa, kuna 25 million ya Ndegu seedlings. Fenya mnajua kuna mswada iko huko kwa Senate, ambapo seneta wetu amejaribu kwenda kuongea na waheshimiwa wengine huko Ndegu ikuwe cash crop kama vile kuna coffee and these others. So we are also giving 25 million to our farmers to start preparing ya kupanda Ndegu.
Sisi kama mbunge tunafikiria ya kwamba labda ni BQ ambazo zinaongezewa hela sana mpaka wakati mwingine. Kwa hivyo mimi nimetoa pendekezo la kwamba tutafute consultant ambayo ni area ya mbunge, wale wakitengeneza BQ zao, na sisi tukitafuta huyu wa pande hii pia yeye hawa naangalia, ndio ile pesa ya mwananchi awaze kupata thamani yake. Mimi ningesema tuhakikisha kwamba hiyo bajeti imetimizwa vilivyo. Manake upande wa kamati kidogo ni kama inafika wakati wanasinzia. Wanatoa bajeti zao, wanapea upande wa maafisa wa serikali pande ile, alafu wanaacha kufuatilia. Tunaamini ya kwamba kutoka pale hii bajeti itawekwa kwa matumizi mara moja na watu wetu watapata maendeleo vile tulivyokusudia.
Meanwhile, the Narok County government has unveiled a 12.2 billion Kenya shillings budget estimates for the year 2021-2022, up from 11.3 billion budget that was read last year. The County Executive Committee member in charge of Finance and Planning, Julius Sasai, placed great emphasis at reviving the tourism, agriculture, infrastructure, health and education sectors that were hard hit during the wake of coronavirus pandemic. The executive member allocated 33% of the budget for recurrent expenditure, 29% of the budget for operations and maintenance, and 38% of the budget for development. Some of the sectors that took the lion's share of the budget include the health sector that was allocated 800 million Kenya shillings, equivalent to 31.1% of the budget, as the sector is in the front line of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mr. Speaker, the midterm review of the CIDP 2018-2023 is ongoing, in which the programs and projects will be prioritized. The COVID-19 recovery strategy and the Big Four agenda will be integrated. This presents huge development needs, which increasingly require large amounts of resources. Hence, we must therefore determine how to raise the funds. In doing so, we have been careful to ensure that budget estimates adhere to the budget framework where expenditure equals revenues. Mr. Speaker, this year's budget provides for the three sources of revenue, namely equitable share, conditional grants, and on-source revenue. The equitable share component of the national transfer to Narok County amounting to Kenya shillings 8.8 billion. Mr. Speaker, the county government of Narok expects to raise Kenya shillings to receive Kenya shillings 799 million in conditional grants, comprising of Kenya shillings 153.3 million grants generated from the national government revenue, and Kenya shillings 645.97 million grants from development partners. A breakdown of the specific amounts will be contained in a disbursement framework that's being developed by the National Treasury in consultation with counties and other stakeholders.
Let's cross borders in Ethiopia. Reports say that dozens of people have been killed and some injured after Ethiopia's Air Force bombed a market in the northern region of Tigray. Eyewitnesses say the Ethiopian Air Force struck down the Togoga market on Tuesday. The Ethiopian military denied targeting civilians, saying it carried out the strikes to neutralize terrorists. Thousands of people have been killed and millions displaced after conflict erupted almost 8 months ago. Officials in Ethiopia have been counting ballots on Tuesday after a parliamentary election billed as the first free vote in the country's history on Monday, but marred by an opposition boycott, war, and reports of irregularities in some areas. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed hopes the national and regional elections will show the success of democratic reforms he launched after being appointed by the ruling coalition in 2018. Meanwhile, the UN accused the government of using food as a weapon in the Tigray region conflict zone, where us voters can't cast ballots. And in Uganda, Uganda's parliament will be temporarily closed for 2 weeks as the country continues to battle a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Last week, officials said more than 100 people in parliament had tested positive for the disease. A statement said the closure will take effect from 28th June to 11th July to allow for disinfection of the parliamentary buildings. Chris Obore, Parliament's Director of Communications, and Public Affairs, said the decision was taken to prevent the facility from becoming a hotspot. The institution has had 4 major public events since May, among them the budget reading, election of the Speaker, and the State of the Nation address. Uganda is facing a second coronavirus wave, prompting President Yoweri Museveni to reimpose a lockdown earlier this month. And former Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould will spend time in jail after the court handed him the sentence last night. Abdelaziz, who led the country for 10 years from 2009, was investigated and charged of alleged corruption and illicit enrichment. His assets worth $114 million were seized after a year-long probe ended in March this year. He denies wrongdoing, saying he has been politically persecuted and vowed not to go into exile. Abdelaziz is accused of allegedly refusing to report to the police, as was required by the conditions attached to his house arrest. And separatists advocating for the independence of Catalonia have been granted pardon by the Spanish government. The activists left jail a day after being pardoned by the government, which handed them a lengthy jail term for their role in a failed independence bid in 2017. The released activists and politicians carried banners with messages pushing for the region's independence while vowing to continue in their campaign. The group of 9 activists was jailed in 2019 for up to 13 years after being charged for participating in an unauthorized referendum that led to a short-lived declaration of independence, triggering a political crisis. On that note, let's take our second commercial break. On Newswatch Tonight, business and sports news is coming up.
Dunia ni mali ya Bwana na vyote vijazavyo.
Nguruwe ni mali ya Bwana au?
Ni mali ya Bwana.
Bata ni mali ya Bwana.
Ni mali.
Wewe kula basi. Acha mambo mengi.
Yesu ndiye njia.
Muislamu yoyote ambaye anamkataa Yesu, kwanza sisi tunamjua ni kafiri.
Bila huyu Yesu, mtu aendi kwa Baba.
Ungana na walimu wa neno wanapochambua masuala tata katika Biblia, wakiyalinganisha na vitabu vingine vya kidini.
Je, kuna ushahidi wowote Muhammad aliwahi na Qur'ani? Na hii Qur'ani muliitoa wapi? Halo,
piga simu moja kwa moja na pia uchangie kupitia SMS na Facebook.
Itawezekana kitabu cha Biblia ambaye mnakiamini kuwa ni kitabu cha Mwenyezi Mungu ishindwe kumtabiri mtu ambaye ana wafuasi zaidi ya bilioni 100 duniani?
Je, Muhammad amekufa ama yuko hai?
Ungana nasi kila Jumamosi saa 2 hadi saa 4 ya usiku kwenye runinga uipendayo ya Hope TV.
Welcome back. In business, Safaricom has launched its M-Pesa Super App for customers and its M-Pesa for Business app with an offline mode and mini apps. The offline mode will enable customers to use the M-Pesa Super App and complete transactions even without data bundles or when totally offline. With the offline mode, customers can send and receive money and equally make payments. Mini apps will enable customers and businesses complete day-to-day and occasional tasks within the M-Pesa Super App and M-Pesa for Business app, including deliveries, ticket booking, shopping, licenses, applications, insurance, and much more from hundreds of businesses, government agencies, utilities, and other firms. To mark the launch of the new features, Safaricom will award all customers who book SGR tickets on the Madaraka Express mini app with 10% of the value back into their M-Pesa accounts.
Most apps consume data. The M-Pesa app is actually zero rated and does not consume your data. But in case you're in a place where there is no data, then the offline mode really comes into feature in terms of you will be able to use the app without data. And this is a really nice functionality to ensure that you continue to experience the M-Pesa app the same way whether there was data or no data. And this enables you not to go back to the old traditional USSD or SDK service. Over the last few months, we've been testing the new M-Pesa app in both the Google Play Store as well as the iOS Store. And over 1 million customers have been using this service. And I want to sincerely thank them because they have given us feedback of what are the areas to improve on, what is really nice, what helps them, what doesn't. And it's really a testament of us listening to our customers and innovating around the needs of our customers.
Kenyans and safari rally lovers have been asked to keep protected areas safe and free from plastics as they enjoy watching the safari rally, which takes place from 24th to 27th of June in Naivasha. With single-use plastics being one of the biggest pollutants of the environment, Kenya took the bold step to ban single-use plastics in national parks, beaches, forests, and conservation areas, which means visitors are no longer able to carry plastic water bottles, cups, disposable plates, cutlery, or straws into these protected areas. Kenyans have also been asked to use the opportunity of the safari rally to visit various attractions in the country.
My call to Kenyans and the rally lovers is to keep our protected areas safe. Already we have a ban on plastics on our national park. Let's avoid using plastic. Actually, you'll not be allowed to carry any plastic within the national park and any protected area. So plastics is one of the pollutants of our environment, and we'll be very keen in ensuring that there's compliance to the ban on the use of plastic in our protected area. Please keep distance from animals. Wild animals are wild animals. They need their space, and just follow the instruction given by the managers. If we are told to keep in the cars, please keep inside the car. But enjoy the rally, enjoy seeing your wildlife. We have put all mitigation measures to make sure you are secure. But also keep this environment clean. Don't throw on your bins. Just follow the instructions, because we'll have people guiding on what can be done and what cannot be done inside the park. And beyond the rally, please visit Hell's Gate National Park, visit the rest of the parks. You have magical and a variety of species across the Kenyan landscape, both at the coast, northern Kenya, in the Rift Valley, Great Lakes. If you are here in Hell's Gate, you can visit Elementaita, go to Lake Nakuru Park and see the flamingos. And is something Kenyans hardly see. So it's not just the rally, it's at least visit these parks and enjoy your wildlife resources.
Equity Group Foundation, together with the United Nations System in Kenya and its SDG partnership platform, have signed a strategic partnership to accelerate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in Kenya by 2030. The strengthened partnership will promote and catalyze investments in the SDGs beyond short-term cycles, enabling the UN system in Kenya to reach more people on the ground through Equity's strong brand in the community, its infrastructure, network development expertise, and local knowledge. Additionally, the partnership will promote social and financial inclusion, improving economic outcomes for human development and contributing to the socio-economic transformation of Kenya.
Partnering with UN, we have tested and proven the strategy of the Sustainable Development Goal. It's very informed, it's very integrated, taking all the facets that would make a difference in humanity. And setting 17 goals, but more importantly, creating mechanism of measuring and reporting achievement of those goals. And we said, then the strategy is right, the strategy is strong, it has attracted collaboration and partnership, so ours will be measured by execution. So combining that capability of formulating by the UN and execution by Equity, we believe will make a very significant difference. And in making a significant difference, we'll be furthering the purpose of Equity Bank or Equity Group. And in furthering that purpose, we see a lot of lives transformed, livelihoods enhanced, we see dignity enhanced for our people, and we see opportunities expanded.
So this partnership between UN Kenya, the SDG platform, and Equity Bank Group that we're launching today is simply groundbreaking. And it is testimony also, James, to your visionary leadership. Dr. Mwangi, you are one of the most respected private sector icons in Kenya and globally. And I'm confident that this step that you're taking, that we're taking today, will inspire others in the private sector to step up and follow. Because you're providing an example to emulate, an example of how one can create economic and social benefit realized simultaneously with profit, realizing shared value, the so-called triple bottom line, or what might simply be termed profit with purpose.
And in sports news, the World Championship Rally resumes after 19 years, and all the drivers are set for the anticipated showdown. Sébastien Ogier of France will be the first to start, followed by Elfyn Evans of Great Britain. Then the third will be Thierry Neuville in that order. Kenyan on-car ride driving a Ford will start at 13 on the pole, then followed by Carl Flash Tundo and Tejvia Rai at 14 and 15 respectively. Speaking to the media at the KICC, Sports Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Amina Mohamed noted that the flagging off will begin at 11 a.m., then head to Moi Sports Center Kasarani for a spectator stand, culminating to Naivasha where the race will begin.
We've been anticipating this for a long time. The Safari Rally begins officially tomorrow, but it also has many activities that are happening today. Today we have the shakedown in Naivasha, which is basically a period when the drivers are preparing themselves psychologically but also physically to participate in the Safari Rally. Tomorrow we have the flag off from right here at the KICC. And then we move to Kasarani, the spectators stand, which is going to be actually a super spectator stand. And that activity begins at 2. The one here begins at about 11 o'clock in the morning. The first car rolls out at 12:46. And then we move to Kasarani to the special spectator stand. That will be what will be happening tomorrow. On Friday then, we then start the rally itself. And that begins in the morning at the service park in Naivasha. The service park is at the Kenya Wildlife Services Institute, which has been very, very kind to host the service park. So that's where action then moves to on Friday. That action continues on Saturday and ends on Sunday. So what we are really asking is for all of us to be on our best behavior during the rally. Of course, we expect people to come and watch the rally. That's what it really is about. This is a Kenyan event, and we want Kenyans to be able to enjoy it. Spaces are being designated, and I think we'll give a fuller account of all that in Naivasha later today. But spaces are being designated for people to go and for spectators to go and watch the rally. We'll expect groups of up to 20, no more than 20.
So this being a big event, we are happy that this is going to be an economy booster because of the monies that are going to come in. It's going to be a multi-million-dollar event that's going to boost our economy. Therefore, the first thing that we must do as Kenyans and fans of the rally is to make sure that we express our joy of having the rally in Kenya in a reasonable way by behaving well. We must ensure that there is total safety for everyone watching the rally. In that respect, I want to announce that the Inspector General of Police has put in place measures to make sure there is security and safety of everyone along the entire route from Nairobi via Kiambu to Nakuru County.
Tusker Football Club edged out Western Stima 2-1 at the Ruaraka grounds this afternoon. Henry Major sealed the Brewers' 13th victory of the season from the spot on 63 minutes after Boniface Mushiri gave the hosts the breakthrough 10 minutes earlier. In the other matches, Gor Mahia were held to a barren draw with Wazito, and the Slum Boys Mathare FC thrashed AFC Leopards 1-0, dimming their hopes of winning the Kenya Premier League. Ingwe, the 12th time winners of the league, won their last Premier League in 1998. Tusker led with 44 points, followed by KCB with 42 points. And the England national team secured a round 16 slot yesterday after beating Czech Republic 1-0. Manchester City sensation Raheem Sterling headed home at the 12th minute from a Grealish cross. England has not conceded any goal at group stage, leading the slot with 7 points from a possible 9 points. So far, Raheem has been the only goal scorer for England in the competition. In the other fixtures, Croatia hammered Scotland 3-1 in an electrifying match, which saw Scotland eliminated, ending the competition with only 1 point. And with that, it's a wrap for Newswatch tonight. Thank you for your valuable company. My name is Tess Njenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Join us tomorrow, same place, same time, God willing. For now, have a good night. God bless you.